Next we move on to the Rotax Junior class for 13 to 17-year-olds. Even though they're just teenagers, drivers at this level can already have up to 10 years of race experience.
I was scared to get in a car at first. I was a tiny little girl going, no, I'm too scared. But now it's kind of like normal. I actually followed my sister into it, my twin sister. She did it first in just corporate and then came into this, and then I jumped in and followed her. I knew Steve, who owns the team, because he did corporate events at Rye House. I came in here one day and saw a Rotax and I said, can I drive that? And he went, no. And I was like, please, can I drive that? And it just kind of went from there. And that's when my sister stopped and I carried on. And we're able to afford one in Rotax, let alone two. I unluckily got late to the grid, so I started at the back, but make an entrance. Went from 28th to 9th, so that was, I'm glad with that. Really glad with that. A lot of contact, a lot of quick thinking to do. The buzz is overtaken, that's my buzz. I want to do single-seaters badly. I mean, I know people that do Formula 4, Formula Ford, and it's totally different world. Like, I mean, I'm not ready for it yet, because I'm so new to this, but I'd love to be in it one day and work up. I mean, I don't want to work in an office, I want to drive. The person that inspires me is Sebastian Vettel. I know a lot of people don't really like him, but I absolutely love him. I think he's just unbeatable at the moment. I love the way he drives, so that's my inspiration.
Although she suffered disappointment in Heat 1, Molly secured 8th and 9th place finishes in her other two races to qualify in the top half of the grid for the final. Despite being one of the youngest drivers in the class, at just 13 and a half, number 71, William Tregurtha, won the first heat of the day. Better to be out front than to be in the middle of the pack, where there wasn't much room to manoeuvre. With a full complement of 28 drivers, the 125cc Junior Rotax class was one of the most competitive of the day. With everybody trying to gain an early advantage, lightning reactions were required through Turn 1, Stadium Bend. They all went in, but not everyone made it out, and it couldn't have been a worse possible start to the weekend for number 48, Einem Coker. But despite the obvious frustration, Coker bounced back in the best possible way, taking victory in Heat 2 and then following that up with a strong drive through to 5th in Heat 3. As it turned out, a lot of drivers were having at least one bad heat, so in the event, Coker was still able to qualify on the 4th row of the grid for the final. Jordan Brown-Nutley was racing in two categories at the London Cup. Having already finished on the podium in the Minimax class for younger drivers with less powerful engines, he was now driving the number 29 kart in this race and having a good battle with number 79, Max Clark, in Heat 1. Clark went on to finish in 3rd place. 53, George Willis, survived this moment at the hairpin. Things didn't go according to plan in Heats 1 and 2, but he finished 7th in Heat 3. Luke Farrow was another driver to suffer a problematic Heat 1. But by the final heat, he was up and running with a 3rd place finish. But if you wanted to start near the front, you needed consistency and a set of 3 good results in the morning. Number 58, Gus Lawrence, achieved exactly this. 4th, 6th and 8th in the heats, Lawrence was on the front row of the grid for the main race. And it might have been pole, but for a jump start penalty in Heat 2. But for every success, a tale of woe. Number 27, Taylor Harding, was in the wars after a big pile-up at the start of Heat 2. Unfortunately, that also resulted in a premature exit to the competition for number 18, Lewis Horn. When the racing got back underway, there was some relief when all the drivers made it around Turn 1. But into the hairpin, there was more drama. Not for the first time, 71, William Tregurtha, unlucky enough to be tangled up in an incident. Fair to say it was not a smooth passage into the final for Tregurtha, but at least the KR Sport driver knew he had the speed to be competitive after that win in Heat 1. Number 88, Harry Holdbrook, was another winner. Victory in Heat 3 added to a 4th place and an 8th from his earlier 2 races, which was enough to put him in the box seat, pole position for the final. With the London Cup at stake, these young racers were giving it their all, fighting for every position to try and get closer to the front. The biggest margin of victory in the heats was 0.84 seconds. 6th, 7th and 9th was a solid rather than spectacular set of results, but yet again consistency proved critical, and this put number 70 Max Clark in 3rd spot on the grid for the final. In this heat, he was battling with kart 53 George Willis. The latter would be mid-grid for the final. and it was a series of heats to forget for Angelo Prodomru. He'd have to start the final from 23rd on the grid. Here's how they'll line up then. Harry Holdbrook and Gus Lawrence on the front row. Max Clark and George Brook up next. Then it's Jordan Brown-Nutley and William Tregurtha who will fill row 3. We'll have all the highlights from the Senior Rotax Max final when you rejoin us after the break. See you in a few minutes.